Hello everyone, this is CJNovo992 and today we're back for another brand new video and we're here to talk about a European night. Remember, Europa League Thursdays? Yeah baby, we're all together. We're here to talk about a fantastic game, a fantastic performance. It's something we could be proud in. Oh, wait no, ladies, I'm sorry, I'm getting old. I'm mixing that up with the previous teams under the previous managers. We're here to talk about 2025 Rangers under the management of Russell Martin. So yeah, there's none of that joy. And look, that's just a daft wee joke and a daft wee line to start the old video off, but there is a hell of a lot of truth in that as well. Look at how far we have fallen. Look at where we are, that even on a European night, which used to be our saving grace for the domestic failures and the domestic frustrations, that the European bright lights where all the players want to play, there is none to get behind. There is none to be excited about. This is another completely lifeless performance for the majority of the game. Besides the 15-20 minutes we decided to actually try and abandon everything that Martin's installed. Did anybody notice that? When everyone just went, just go forward with the ball. I just stuff all this crap we were passing about for half an hour from left to right, to left to right, and they just kick it to a 21-year-old called Gassama and hope he does something special. We ripped up the game plan and just started piling people forward, and we looked half decent for a wee while, but again, are we to sit here and happy clap that, trips? That's where we are as a fan base. And we, Everton Football Club, I know we're hiring a hell of a lot of their staff and a lot of their cast-offs and flops to this team, but that's what we have to celebrate now. Complete and utter mediocrity. That's where we are as a football club, because I thought I was a Rangers fan, ladies and gentlemen, supporting Rangers Football Club, because everything I'm seeing from game to game, performance to performance, result after result screams that it's no. And look, I'll be honest, I'm sitting here trying to overreact and trying to get too frustrated and go on too many rants and rambles, because I know a lot of people didn't expect too much for this team, but again, I just care so much about the actual club that's seen it run this way and being managed this way. Sickens me to the core. I'm having to watch us go ahead and get mauled by not only the likes of Club Brugge, who again are an established Champions League side that are good at football with some really good players with a lot of money spent. I'm watching us getting mauled and should concede goals versus the likes of Livingston, versus the likes of Genk, it's game by game, game by game, and didn't let the scoreline fool you or whatever Russell Martin tries to pander out there with his wee wordsmiths in the press conference. Jack Butland, if he wasn't up to the standard he currently is right now, that'd have been a 5 or 6 again. Ladies and gentlemen, genuinely, he was that good, especially in the first half when he made several, and I mean several, big saves. We are Jack Butland on the form of his life away from getting pumped in each and every single game, and no matter a word vomit from the head coach or the sporting directors or the Rangers TV interviews that are all picked and done and PR'd out their nut to go ahead and try and pander to everybody's ever going to convince me anything else, that this club is going absolutely nowhere but through the flair. And the question needs to be, why on earth hasn't this man been sacked? Because it's long beyond necessary, it's long beyond what's required. It's actually reached the point now, it's now negligence if we didn't sack the guy, because is this good enough now for this football club? Right, the domestic failings are there to be seen, right? It's embarrassing watching us struggle against teams that can't afford a meal deal at Tesco, right? But now you're talking about the European stage where our bread and butter was, where we made that money and probably made this club in the current climate that is Scottish football at least attractive to outsiders. Now you're sitting here watching us struggle and limp from game to game and getting none for games of football. There's no money coming in, they're no selling out anymore. The standard of football is absolutely shocking. We're in every single European game, or at least every single European away day, Panathinaikos and Victoria Pilsen as well included into that, we have been salt and peppered in every single game. Ladies and gentlemen, we've managed to nick over and get over the line in a couple of them and rode our luck, but our luck is running out pretty damn rapidly, and it feels that way for Martin as he can't buy a result, because he certainly spent a lot more than our previous managers ever did at this football club, and he's got significantly worse results. I remind you, just 12 months ago, this football club, despite the absolute house on fire and the board giving up on this club because they were ready to sell on and move on, and they didn't invest. Remember what we done in January, ladies and gentlemen? We brought in a loanee centre-back that played twice or something like that. No matter how badly we were run last year, this club at the Europa League level managed to finish inside the top 8. Now, where are we, ladies and gentlemen? After the investment, after all the PR crap, after all the togetherness and great energy and trips to dip in frickin' locks, we are sitting 32nd, winless, and absolute fodder at the European level. But we've to be happy because we played well for 15 minutes in an odd game here or there. They're taking us for a ride, man. Questions are needing not to be asked. They've got to be screamed. What the hell is going on? Now again, we've seen some bad teams, we've seen some bad runs, and we've seen some dark times, and usually what end up coming up here is after they sit and say, well, he's got to go, he's got to get sacked. But even that sounds redundant to say. Of course he should be sacked. They should have been booted out of the football club weeks ago, results ago, and there could be a genuine argument made that I think 99.9% of the fan base would make, Troops, that he should never have been given the job in the first place, because there's not a single credit on his CV or not a single statistic out there that should have suggested that he should have been given in the job. But they took a gamble, they took a punt, but it's a complete and utter swing and miss, and we are drowning as a football club. And you didn't need to just take my frustration for it. Let me hit you with some stats. Russell Martin has now been in charge of Rangers Football Club for 16 matches. You know what I mean? I'm not taking into consideration the friendlies and that. I'm talking about 16 matches he's now been in charge, and during that run in which he promised attacking, dominant football and a team that we could be proud that, he has failed at every little thing he promised the fans to expect for his team, because in the 16 games he's been in charge, we have won 5 of those games, we have drawn 5 of those games, and we have lost 6 frickin' times, scoring 20 goals and conceding 23. Now you take a step back and you look at that, and what is that? That is bang average relegation fodder stuff that you're hearing. But when you bring in a manager that's never won an ounce of anything besides a playoff, you take that type of manager, a guy that's built to make a playoff run, is there any surprise that we've got zero winning culture being implemented in to our football club? Because the guys we sign have never won nothing, the guys we put in charge have never won nothing, and the guys we trust to go ahead and make the decisions to get all of that right has also never been a part of any club that's ever won anything. It's beyond a circus, it's an absolute dumpster fire now, and every single game is depressing to watch, and it's depressingly predictable, I'd say, as well, because there's so many times I run into people in and out the old place and they sit talking, oh CJ, the game's so torture now, you know what I mean? I'm like, oh, you going to be? No, I'm not going to be, I can't go, I'm not want to put my way through that, I'm not want to take, and I understand it, ladies and gentlemen. This is what's happening with the fan base, and again, the fans aren't to blame for this. It's no the fans booing, it's no this, they need to do this, they need to do that. That's got absolute nothing to do with if a product was getting put in place, and if we could see a glimpse of anything getting implemented in terms of built upon, the fans would be there. But the fans have seen charlatans before. We've seen fraudsters and people drowning in their position that are not fit for their position before, and we won't be tricked, we won't be bamboozled by PR stuff and interviews and all that stuff any longer. We see through all that crap. So that is why the fans are voicing their displeasure, because they've been here, they've done it, they've lived it before. Yes, the new owners are just new to this and they've not seen this type of thing before, and they might feel they're doing the right thing by trying to ride out the storm, but we all know how this ends and how this goes, and the fans are voicing their displeasure for one reason and one reason only. They didn't want to drag the arse out another season and waste another season and get knocked out every single competition and make it a complete failure before the change that again is badly needed gets actually freaking done. We want to skip the middle of the road where we throw away the entire season and get knocked out everything. We want to skip that and get to the bit where it at least get some resemblance of positivity, and maybe, just maybe, tidy the house up that again is in a mess. Because trust me, we are in a mess, and you could genuinely make an argument we are just as messy off the park as we are on the park right now, and where, yes, Russell Martin is a clear, glaring issue at this football club because it's just no gonna work. You know what I mean? He's tried everything to implement his style. He's tried everything, you know what I mean? He's tried backing the players, he's tried calling the players out, he's tried banishing the players, he's tried dipping the players in water. He has exhausted what he is capable of doing, and he's just no got it to be a Rangers manager, and that's clear right now, right? He can't inspire, he can't change it, he can't turn this ship around, but he's no just the issue. The issue is also his little partner in crime in terms of the sporting director by the name of Kevin, where a lot of people also mention the likes of Patrick Stewart also being a problem. I sit and look at Kevin and I think about the fact that somehow, some way, him hiring his underqualified 26-year-old son to be the head of recruitment at Rangers Football Club isn't he somehow denting his top 5 wildest and worst mistakes he's made already in his job? How does that not break into the top 5? Well, that's how bad of a job he's doing, and again, they are partners in crime, and they're both the exact frickin' same. He's failing to coach a team and get the best of them, and he's failed putting the team together like that. And that's the issue at this club, and it's clear to everybody, barring the ones that can actually make the decision. But I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm too heated, maybe I'm too annoyed, maybe I'm too disgusted. You can let me know down in the comments section below, but I knew we were getting beat the day. You know what I mean? We're talking about Sturm Graz and I'm expecting us to get beat. The European magic's long gone for that any resemblance of what was previously installed by the likes of Steven Gerrard, then beautifully mastered by the likes of Gio in terms of European competition, because the horseshoe was dreadful domestically, but the way he was able to work and fine-tune and attack the space and hurt teams in European football, the highs we got for that. And even, to be fair, in what Phil Clement was able to do previously, considering the mess that was that shoot there, it's just a shadow now, you know what I mean? We are in the Shadowlands, you know what I mean? We are no longer in the good part of Lion King. We're with Scar in the hyenas, and I'll be honest, I didn't like it. Spoiler alert, by the way, for a movie that came out in 1994. Yes, Scar is the bad guy of the old story, but I'm at the point now where I'd actually prefer to look to his type of leadership than who's currently running this football club, and that's scary to say out loud. But getting into the actual game of football, again, when you're talking about pros, cons, negatives, positives, there's very little to really break down for the game. There was a couple positives. Again, I thought Gassama was our only real bright attacking spark, and I don't know if it's just me, and I know I've made a couple wee references and I've made a couple wee jokes about this, but this master plan and this system and this style of play, this clear philosophy that Russell Martin's got, I sit and look at it and be like, all it is just passing the ball about in the middle of the park for about 10 to 15 passes and then just booting the ball to Gassama and hoping he goes ahead and beats a couple of people and puts a cross in or beats a couple of people and shoots. That's the master plan. That's the clear philosophy. He'd ride our hopes and dreams on a 21-year-old who's just new to this football club. And see, to be fair to the kid, he tried his best to drag us back in it. I've got nothing bad to say, and I can only imagine if we were able to fine-tune our team and if we actually had a bit of balance to our team and play to our players' strengths, what it could actually look like, where Gassama doesn't need to get ran into the ground and touch the ball every single time to get us forward. Imagine if the right-hand side had a bit something, and that's where I want to go next, because we're talking about balance, right? We're talking about how off balance we are. Well, Gassama was a positive. Ant-Man was a negative, but I struggle to really put the blame on this guy, because we all know the guy's got genuine quality. He got 17 assists last season, you know what I mean? Most of them from open play, and again, most of them was for getting to the byline, getting down there and chucking in balls into the mixer. His one assist in a Rangers shirt came for, yes, you guessed it, running down the byline and chucking in across. But you look at what we're asking this kid today at this football club now, who's getting ripped off at half time because he looked completely devoid of confidence and completely devoid of belief, because we've took what type of player he is, ripped him up to bits, broke him down, and suddenly made him into the type of player that cuts inside and tries to recycle possession, almost like a wide 10 now. We've got an actual winger cutting inside I need to play nice wee one touches, cutting inside. I need to play one touches. Where's the guy that wants to just bomb forward, chuck a ball into the mix, and he's got to cut inside because that's what it's all a freaking boot? None of it makes sense to me, and I think we've absolutely destroyed that young man. And for me, that's when the problem does appear more for the players and more over to the coaching, because we signed him, who was playing fantastic football. We brought on the likes of Joe Rothwell, who's just had one of his best seasons in terms of accolades, man of the matches, and how well he did. This is a guy that created the most chances on goal. Joe Rothwell, chances on goal. Rothwell, none of it makes sense, because we've got him sitting next to defenders. Troops, and a guy that's been credited as being a set-piece specialist his entire year, that led the league in the championship last year, doesn't get a sniff at a set-piece, despite how bad our set-pieces are. Again, that's us ruining another player at the top of his game, and you can go player for player, player for player, and that's what we're doing. And that's why, for me, a lot of it glances over to the staff that's running this football club, because they've got good players there. They're just trying to force them to be in what they want rather than enhancing what they are. And for me, that's not what management is. And again, to save this video being a crazy length, I'm not going to go through every single individual, because we'll talk about that as we get to the game recap. But all I will say before we move on, where Gassama was the brightest outfielder spark that we had, and I'm very thankful we had him. I'm also very thankful we had Jack Butland as well, by the way, because this guy's in incredible form, and I say that despite the goals we've conceded. I say that despite us now going ahead and matching a record from the 1800s. Aye, we're going that far back, all the way back to the very start of this club's entire history. We have oversaw and matched the record in terms of conceded 22 away games consecutively. And I'm sitting here saying our goalie, despite being in goals for a large majority of them, has been a part of that shot and run. But if it wasn't for Jack Butland, we would be getting absolutely massacred every single game. Do you remember how you felt after we got scanted 6-0 off Club Brugge? Well, I genuinely believe the large majority of our games would have looked and felt like that if it wasn't for Jackie B in the stick. So where I've got a lot of frustration towards a lot of players and a lot of performances and a lot of the results, a lot of that misses Jack Butland, and he dodges that like Neo, because he's been absolutely brilliant. And I can't help but feel if he was as good last season as he is this season, we'd probably still have Big Mad Phil in the old job. But hey, let's go ahead and get into the starting 11 then, shall we? Because it was exactly what we predicted it would be in terms of the preview video, as we painfully called once again the striking position getting rotated and changed on a game by game basis. Because you know what a striker needs, ladies and gentlemen, especially when he's just joining a football club, is some consistency. You know what I mean? Chances to get used to his teammates, know where everybody's going to be, know what he's going to do when he's got the ball. That's what they need to start sinking in and start banging in goals and feeling good about themselves. Do you know what they didn't need? To constantly get ripped in and out the game and break any type of consistency or confidence that they've got in their abilities. It's one game. Well, we've got 2 new strikers to the football club, and that's what we're doing to pay for them. You know what I mean? And it's hard to blame them. You know what I mean? We could do it the right way, or we could do it the wrong way. Guess which way Russell Martin's doing? That's right, it's destroying another player's confidence. As Bojan's confidence is gone, and if Chermeti ever had any, they'd probably be away as well. And look, where Chermeti's obviously been at the end of a couple of my wee one-liners so far in today's video, I didn't think he was that bad. The day, you know what I mean? I thought he worked hard. I thought he put himself in the right positions. Yes, did he miss chances? Absolutely. Did he no score in the game? No, he never. But he's never has in his career. That's no way is. He's not a goal scorer. He's not a marksman. He's not a bagsman. Ladies and gentlemen, he is what he is. But I thought, if it counts, they worked hard, put himself about, linked up the play a couple of times, and looked pretty decent. But he's got the old flowitis, ladies and gentlemen. You know what I mean? He's been bought for a lot of money, so you're expecting goals. And do you ken what's mad? Flo actually averaged a goal every 2 games in his career, and people still remember him as being a colossal flop and a colossal failure. So good luck to Chermeti, who has spent a similar amount in money in right now, but again has very little to offer back in terms of putting the ball into the back of net. But again, it's still incredibly early. He might start banging them in, but I'm just sort of referencing that because that's how high the bar is, and that's how big the expectation is when you spend that type of money, which isn't his fault. But it's Kevin that done it to him at Everton and helped him drown. Now he's done it to him at Rangers again and has helped him drown. So I do feel bad for him, but again, the expectations rise when you get paid for that amount of money, and it's another game without a goal. All I can hope, ladies and gentlemen, is when we eventually do get a new manager and he's able to get the best out the big laddie. Maybe the big laddie scores a goal to take us to the knockouts, or scores a goal here that gets us into a certain point of European football, and that helps pay back his transfer fee. Good luck to the kid, but it's going to be hard for him under Russell, Kenneth Alexander-Martin. But moving away from the old starting 11, getting into the game of football, it's exactly what you're expecting the start of a game to be under Russell Martin. It was slow, it was predictable, and it was freaking safe. But the only real surprise and the only real question you would have after it being so painfully predictable 5, 6, 7 minutes onto the clock is, how are we going to concede in the game? And I'll be honest, I've seen us concede some horrendous, and I mean horrendous, goals at this football club. Some laughable goals, especially this season. But I'll be honest, this one's right up here. Right, we've got Tavernier getting the ball. How does he take 20-25 seconds to throw the ball and he throws it to nobody? Man, to be fair to him, Chermeti gets flung around like a plastic bag, but again, even that's no gone in him. But where the throw is dreadful, the bit of defending for Suter would break the strongest of strong wills. As Soapy originally drops deep to try and get the ball, Tavernier eventually ignores him and chucks up the park. But then after the ball has been chucked, Soapy's like, you know what I mean? I feel like I'm watching the Munsters on a rerun. Trip's just so slow. As he gets up there, allows him to have a free sort of shotty goal. The guy cuts inside. Soapy's keeping him onside, and then it's buried into the back of net with an aid of a deflection. But how are we conceding for an throw that we took 25-30 seconds to take? Trip's still looking at, what do we work on in training? Are we still doing wheelbarrows? Because that looks like the way we frickin' play. But dreadful start to the game. What a goal to give away. But when you look at the usual suspects and look at the way they come down, is it any surprise now anymore? Nah, ladies and gentlemen. It's the standard. And then you can guess what happened. We've conceded a stupid goal. We've gave them a goal. Now we absolutely fill our wee nappies. As in the 12th minute, just several minutes after them taking the lead, it should be 2-0 as they end up getting down the right hand side. As Horvet, again another guy we picked out. I do apologise. I even said in yesterday's preview, if you watched it, if these 3 guys end up having a game, I'm never doing it. Again, well, the 3 players that I pointed out was Stankovic, who I thought could be a massive, massive problem for us and break down a lot of our attacks. Check. Unfortunately, Horvat, who again went ahead and scored in the game of football, and Kitchenavili, who again scored. So I'm never doing it. Anyway, I'm not doing that to blow my own hair, but I'm feeling like I'm a curse. I feel like I'm a jinx. Trips, I'm not be like, oh, look at me, I got it right. No, I'm saying, it's me. I'm the problem, it's me. Taylor Swift. But moving on for there, it should be 2-0, but thankfully the run down the cut inside, but it's a brilliant strong paw for Jackie B, and it'll be the only time we go ahead and say that in the next 5 to 6 minutes. But after where it should have been 2-0, it really should have been 2-1, and it's unfortunate on the big man who again score it, man, and everything could have been different. But eventually we kick the ball to Gassama. Gassama takes a couple people for a walk, chips up a ball, brilliant ball to the back post when you want your big 6'4" centre forward. He's up against, I think, a fullback who's about 5'6". He's got all the time in the world, but he balloons it right against the bar, and what a chance that was to grab the game and bring it back to 1 each. Would we have deserved it? No, but I've seen many teams over the years catch us cold and hit us one and score one they didn't deserve. So it'd have been nice to score one and be on the other side of it, but aye, it was bar and away then it went back to their attacks. And to save all of our sanities, I'm not just going to sit here and break down every single attack, but we survive. One scare, the 30th minute, there's the clearest opportunity to score, but it's an absolute ridiculous save. Soapy and Tav again just getting torn to shreds. And I feel so bad for Tav, you know what I mean? He's been such a long servant here, but the guy should have been protected. A replacement should have been put in a place that was good enough to take the heat off him in these games, but they're just licking their lips and attacking that right hand side where Soapy and Tav's getting torn to shreds every single game, and they run through easily. Kitchener-Valley goes with the left foot, tries to hit across the body, but again, big, strong paw for Jackie B, but where I thought it's going to be another Butland bailout, it's going to be another Jackie B saving session. 2 minutes later, they've got the ball into the back of net, and the worst thing I can say about this goal, but the best way I can summarise it, remember when I talked about the first goal was one of the worst goals I've ever seen us concede? Yeah, what I'll say is the next goal I'm here to talk about is actually worse than that. So that's impressive. And the goal's so bad, I almost want to protect myself by not going back in. It's like my brain's trying to shake it away. I blocked it out, troops. It's just buried deep in here. But I'm going to try and unlock that box and relive it with ease. Right, frickin' new. It's a free kick, Surprise, surprise, set piece. Oh, you know what, we're working on it. Woosah, CJ, woosah. But anyway, it's not just the poorly advised, ridiculous high line, which is great when you can't defend and one of your centre-back runs about like they're carrying a caravan. So that is fantastic, right? Not only have we got the ill-advised, ridiculous high line, beside the line, we've got a massive, massive gap that you could probably fit 12 Neil Lennons in. No. Ladies and gentlemen, when he's playing days, no. Ladies and gentlemen, just a massive gap the right-hand side of our high line with nobody blocking or covering or threatening to block off anything. And you know what happens? Do you know what Sturm Graz goes ahead and does? Troops, with that ridiculous high line and the massive free space we've left to make one pass in behind. That's right, you guessed it. They take the invitation. They take the Willy Wonka's golden ticket and come dancing in the chocolate factory with making one simple pass in behind the massive defence, in behind the slow high line, and they score the easiest amateurish goal you will ever see. And this is at the European stage. Ladies and gentlemen, is he going to sit there in a press conference with his smug face saying he looks well coached now? Because that is about as amateur and pub league-esque you will be. You would say you'd want to greet, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to dehydrate because the tears are long, long gone watching Veg Lasso. But hey, we're only going to beat 2-0 right now, so that's a positive these days, right? The fact that a Russell Martin side on a European night's only getting pumped 2-0, that's almost something you have to cheer now, because there's very little else to cheer in the rest of the first half, because after going 2-0 down, there was very little of anything for this Rangers team. Gassama went on a couple runs, tried to make a wee chance for Chimete, but it's really good defending where the shot is then blocked, but that was it. Troops, that was the response. So it's another game of football. It's another half of football. We were tactically outcoached. Our system was ripped to shreds, and the players couldn't kick their own arses. But hey, they're brilliant in training. You should see them in training, man. Honestly, have you seen the Rangers TV interviews and everything like that? The Rangers TV, brilliant. Hey, you seen them doing keep uppies and that, and the Heat 10. Says great with the staff, great energy, growing together, sensational, ladies and gentlemen. When it comes to actually football and where it matters, barking. But into the second half, changes clearly had to be made as well. Ahead and made a double substitution as the likes of Majovski ends up coming on for Ant-Man, who's absolutely destroyed. But he's not the only one that's been destroyed by this system and destroyed by this manager. He's just lucky he's still getting picked and no banished like half the other team. Where's Clinton Nisala? Anybody seen Clinton Nisala? You know what I mean? Left-sided centre-back. Nah, I'm not wanting him. Well, Soapy can go out and play like that every week, but everything is fine. He's not the only one to come on, however, as Jaden ends up getting pulled out from the game of footballs. I did worry about his matchup yesterday in terms of the preview video, but then comes Max Arens, and then you're going, wait, is Max Arens going to go to the left, where that also destroyed him and maybe set him on the bad path that he's went ahead and hurt, or are we going to move Tavernier out in the left back where he's no comfortable? No, it's none of that, ladies and gentlemen. The guy we end up playing at the left back position is our best centre-half by the name of Derek Cornelius. And do you know what the cruelest part is? The big laddie actually goes ahead and plays well. Do you know why? Because he's our best defender. Why are we moving the one good centre half? Well, why are we putting him out there? But hey, that's fine, ladies and gentlemen, and it almost seemed fine because we started the second half on fire. We've got new 2 strikers on. We end up giving the ball to Gassama again. Brilliant for Raskin, pinging the ball, winning the ball, drops it to the gas man. First touch, amazing. Cuts inside, sets his man on skates and delivers a fantastic shot that possibly the goalie should have saved. And if it was Butland, I would have some questions, but the guy scored it, who I like, so I think it's a great finish, ladies and gentlemen. And then you think to yourself, right, let's see what this Graz team's all about, because again, they aren't that fantastic this year. They have lost several key pieces, and they just got beat off FC Midtjylland, who struggled versus Hibernian. Let's attack this team in for 3 freaking minutes. I thought we might actually do it because we started putting the ball in the mixer. We started being quick. We started being direct. Gassama going on for a run. Gassama taking guys for skates. Gassama hitting some crosses. Majorski, he does one. Doing Raskin gambles. Has to do better with shot, in my opinion. But it's building, it's building, and it's building. And just when you think it's fun to watch Rangers again like that, because Graz, who couldn't string a single pass together, suddenly started getting confidence and yes, should have put the ball into the back of net, as they end up playing through us again. We give the ball away stupidly. You know what I mean? Silly passes for Soapy. You know what I mean? I'm really, really shocked these days. They end up running through, but it's another very good save for Jack Butland. And then it becomes a basketball game. After Graz has got confidence again, then we start playing more attacking. But that weird spell where we almost took a breather in the game gave them some life and some belief to get back in it. There's just so many weird decisions, and then again it was just we go forward, they go forward, we go forward, they go forward. But again, the cruelest part is the team that made the best chances and the clearest chances was again, unfortunately, Graz. And to skip over some of it, ladies and gentlemen, you obviously had Butland need to make several other big saves. One of them where he's low to his right. There's another one where one gets sort of volleyed in. It's a phenomenal lunge for Jackie B. And every single time that would happen, we would get the ball forward. We would give it to Gassama. We'd give it to Chermeti. We would try and ping it in to Bojan, but nothing was sticking. Nothing was falling. And we just looked like a team that was completely out of ideas and just started chucking everything at the wall, hoping it would pay out. And as the game started to peter out and the game started to go that way, Martin again just chucked more stuff at the walls. He brought on Danilo, so we're playing 3 centre forwards. We've just subbed off, by the way, our only good defender, Cornelius, who came off the game after going really, really close with a header. It's a brilliant save. Soapy then goes very, very close with a header, and Soapy should burst the back into net as well, round about the 78th minute, I think, ladies and gentlemen. The corner or cross comes in. I originally thought it was a handball because everyone put their hand up, but Big Soapy's there and he just bloots it right at the keeper. If it hits any side of the goal, it is bursting the back of net, but he does the goalie a favour by just hitting it straight at him, reacting. And I thought, that's close, but there must be a penalty because so many players put the ball, but it's not even hit the guy's arm. So that was the motivating, and yeah, the game just sort of went like this, back, forth, back, forth. And the last part of the game that really frustrated me, going back to the Rothwell stuff, we have so many set pieces and so many chances to put it in to the mixer. We didn't put them on it. It's just Tav. It's just Tav. And then in the 94th minute, we stick Jack Butland up. I'm like, right, just put this on the money, Rothwell. It's Tav. Okay, Tav. Is he going to try and aim for Suter again? Okay. Suter's not one of he does since he was at Hearts. You know what I mean? Just chuck it to Soapy. He can't get up and the ball falls away. And that wee moment might just sound like I'm picking on a certain point in the game, or picking on a certain player, but it's the perfect epitome of my problems. Man, why is your strategy for set pieces to aim for a guy that doesn't score? He does Raskin scores. Mate, he does at least put it and drop it in to a position, but we're trying to swing it away to the back to get Soapy to header it back across. Just put it in the 6-yard box, man. But dreadful decision for the set piece, and again, that was game, that was set, and that was match. Mikey Moore also came into the game of football over Finlay Curtis. I don't know if he said he's preferred Kelly Hazel over Lucy Pinder. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but that entire situation is also weird. But again, as I've tried to show in this today's video, there's so many weird decisions that it almost becomes numbing the more deeper and deeper down this rabbit hole you go, Alice. But that's my thoughts and opinions, and I've no idea how this video is going to be received. Maybe I have been too frustrated, maybe I have been too angry, but I think under previous managers and I think under previous seasons we would have won the day, or at least asked mere question. Or one thing I'm damn sure of, maybe a win-loss and that's too harsh to say, we'd have started the game of football on the front foot rather than this slow, ponderous football that just gives the opposition belief. But I'm going to wrap up today's video right here. I've not seen the press conference yet. I'm away to watch it after I finish this video and stick it online, so wish me luck. But my bingo, which became a weekly occurrence now, by the way, I think Martin will probably either say they started off well or never started well on off, and then we came into a game, we made chances, we're going to take them. It'll no be his fault. One thing I'm sure is it'll no be his responsibility or his subs or his personnel decisions, the chop and changing players. He'll probably blame the players. It'll be their mentality. They didn't fancy or anything. They can't do what he's wanting because he's such a genius. They're just not capable of doing what he wants. It'll be along those lines. So if you've got that in your Martin bingo call, that's what I'm going with there, right there. They've never done what they've done in training. They've been training really well today. They're just not doing it, and something about either them or their mentality. That's my prediction anyway. But let me know how you're feeling. Maybe I've been too harsh again. You can let me know, as you often do, in the comments section below. But until next time, I've been Siege over 92. What needs done at this football club? If you're still here, please let me know. And until next time, which again I hope's a happier topic, but that's all we've got to know is hope, and it doesn't look that great. Until next time, all the best and bye bye.